Gemini on alien intelligence ideas that might be useful for improving AI. Prompt: alien intelligence. Imagine that humanoids from an Earth-like planet orbiting another star arrived on Earth. How might their intelligence differ from ours? Response: if we met humanoids from an Earth-like planet, the uncanny valley wouldn't just apply to their faces, it would apply to their minds. Even with similar biology, their cognitive architecture would be sculpted by a different evolutionary greatest hits album. Here is how their intelligence might diverge from the human standard. 1. Sensory integration and Umwelt. Human intelligence is visual dominant. We see solutions and use spatial metaphors for time. If these visitors evolved in a thicker atmosphere or under a dimmer star, their primary mode of processing could be radically different. Synesthetic reasoning. They might perceive data as textures or smells. Their version of calculus might be felt as a harmonic resonance rather than seen as symbols on a page. Sensorium expansion. If they can sense magnetic fields or infrared light, their common sense would include variables we find abstract. They wouldn't need a compass to understand navigation. It would be an intuitive, baked-in feeling. 2. Social versus individual computation. Humans are ultra-social, but we still maintain a strong sense of the individual I. Alien intelligence might slide further along that spectrum. The hive mind light. They might possess high-bandwidth nonverbal communication, like skin color changes in cephalopods or pheromonal bursts. This would make their intelligence more distributed. Conflict resolution. Their logic might be less zero-sum than ours. If their ancestors survived through extreme cooperation rather than competition, their brilliance might manifest as an effortless ability to coordinate complex systems that would leave humans bickering for decades. 3. Temporal perception. Our intelligence is bound by a specific biological clock. We live about 80 years and process the present in roughly 100 millisecond slices. Slow intelligence. If they live for centuries, their intelligence might be slow and deep. They might be incapable of the snap judgments humans excel at, but possess a terrifyingly accurate grasp of long-term causality and slow-moving systems, like climate or economics. Nonlinear memory. Their brains might store memory with much higher fidelity. While we reconstruct memories, and often change them, they might relive them, leading to an intelligence that is incredibly consistent, but perhaps less creative, or prone to less happy accidents. 4. Different mathematical foundations. We often assume math is the universal language, but our math is based on human intuition. Base systems. We love base 10 because of our fingers. They might use base 12 or a continuous fluid-based logic. Geometry versus topology. A species from a water world might have a genius-level understanding of fluid dynamics and topology, the study of shapes, while finding our obsession with rigid straight lines and triangles to be a bizarre, primitive abstraction, the hardware difference. Even if we are both humanoid, their brain chemistry could be based on different catalysts. If their neural transmission is faster, electronic or photonic rather than chemical, they might perceive a human conversation the way we perceive a sloth trying to tell a joke, painfully, agonizingly slow. Follow-up prompt: expand each of the points you mentioned about them. Response. To dive deeper into these alien operating systems, we have to look at the evolutionary pressures that would force a brain to develop such specific cognitive shortcuts. Here is an expanded look at those 4 pillars of alien intelligence. 1. Sensory integration, the perceived reality. Human intelligence is constrained by our 5 senses. We process the world through a bottleneck of sight and sound. An alien species might have a multimodal intelligence where senses aren't separate. Integrated data streams. Imagine an alien that hears color, For them, a mathematical proof might not be a series of written steps, but a sculpture of frequency. They wouldn't just understand a concept. They would feel its symmetry, the infrared perspective. If they see in the infrared spectrum, their intelligence would be hyper-aware of thermodynamics. While we see a solid object, they see a heat signature. This would make them naturally superior at engineering and biology, as they can see the energy flow within any system in real time. 2. Social versus individual, the architecture of choice. Our brains are island processors. We think alone and then use the clumsy tool of language to sync up. Alien humanoids might have a bridged architecture. Biological Wi-Fi. If they use biological signaling, like rapid-fire skin pigment shifts or electric fields, their intelligence isn't located in one head. A group of 10 aliens might literally be smarter than one, functioning as a temporary supercomputer. The death of the lie. If their communication is high bandwidth and involuntary, like a blush you can't hide, deception might be a foreign concept to them. Their entire civilization would be built on radical transparency, making their politics and philosophy unrecognizable and perhaps terrifyingly efficient to us. 3. Temporal perception, the long game. Human intelligence is reactionary. We are built to dodge predators and catch prey in the immediate moment. Hyperlongitudinal thinking. If their planet has seasons that last decades, like a highly elliptical orbit, their intelligence would prioritize delayed gratification. A humanoid that lives 500 years wouldn't understand quarterly profits. Their common sense would involve planning for the next century as easily as we plan for next week. Clock speed. Conversely, if their neurons fire at 10 times the speed of ours, a human conversation would feel like watching a glacier move. They might solve a complex human problem in the time it takes us to finish a sentence, leading to a profound sense of impatience or boredom with human logic. 4. Mathematical foundations. Different truths. We assume 1 plus 1 equals 2 is universal. While the logic holds, the application defines the intelligence. Topological intuition. Humans are object-oriented. We see things as discrete units. An alien from a more fluid environment might have topological intelligence, focusing on how things connect and deform rather than what they are. Their technology might not be built from parts, but grown or folded as a single continuous piece. Probability versus certainty. Our brains are notoriously bad at statistics. We fear shark attacks, but ignore heart disease. An alien mind might be Bayesian by default, constantly updating the probability of every outcome. They wouldn't see facts. They would see probability clouds, making them incredibly resilient to the cognitive biases that plague human decision-making. Comparison of intelligence. Styles. Feature. Human intelligence, alien long-view intelligence, primary logic, linear/narrative, systemic/probabilistic, communication, serial, one word at a time, parallel, multi-layered signals, memory, reconstructive, imperfect, high fidelity, fixed, focus, short-term survival, ecosystemic equilibrium. Do you know that any private information you put into a cloud AI is used to train that AI? A private AI running on your own hardware is the best way to keep your private data private. I can help you set up a private AI on almost any PC or server. Contact me for a free consultation. If you get value from these blogs, please consider joining my Patreon as a member at the $2, $4, or $8 level. There are more than 400 previous blogs on my Patreon page. https://www.patreon.com/Steve Hovland.